Hey friends, welcome to the Creative Business Mindset. This is your backstage pass to the realities of turning your passion into profit. My name is Joké. I'll be your host. I'm a busy mom of 3, navigating the twists and turns of life and business. You'll get the good, the bad, and the glorious mess of starting afraid, the determination to keep going no matter what. Everyone knows you for that one thing. You know what I'm talking about. It's the thing that comes so naturally to you that you're happy to do it for free. That was me until I made 6 figures in my first year as a home stager. I've made so many mistakes so you don't have to. If this Nigerian girl can do it, you, my friend, can do it too. Let's go. Today, I want to share something very personal, and I hope it resonates with anyone who has ever had to navigate life's unexpected twists and turns. It's a story of resilience, adaptability, and discovering the hidden strengths that come from our everyday life. I am talking about my journey, moving my whole life and leaving everything I've ever known behind to come across continents to make a new life, becoming an accidental stay-at-home mom, and how I went from changing diapers to closing real estate deals. Every moment of managing my household became the very foundation for my path into entrepreneurship. This episode was inspired by a recent session I had with an aspiring entrepreneur client who felt unprepared and underqualified to pursue a new career outside of her home after being a stay-at-home mom for many years. She reminded me so much of myself when I decided to go back to work after several years as a stay-at-home mom. Being a mom had been her only identity, and she could not see herself as anything other than that, even though the kids are now adults and gone from home. I listened for minutes as she discounted all of the skills and all of the values that she had as a mom and how she thought they were invaluable and do not transfer into the workplace. Let me tell you, sister, motherhood is one of the most intense forms of leadership training, an entrepreneurial boot camp. Every late night feeding, every budgeted grocery trip, every moment spent planning family activities, all of this prepared me for something greater than myself. If you can de-escalate a screaming toddler in the middle of a grocery store under the judgmental stares from total strangers, there is no business challenge you can't face. Okay, story time. I call myself an accidental stay-at-home mom because, truth be told, it was never part of the plan. Growing up in Nigeria, it was completely normal for both parents to work outside the home. We had very strong family network with extended family, domestic help, nannies were readily available and affordable for most middle-class families. With so much support, there was rarely any need for anyone to stay home 24/7 with the kids. Every mom I knew either had a job, a trade, or was running some sort of business. As a kid, I never knew my mom to not work. And when she left her job as a chef in the early 80s, she opened up a small shop selling everyday provisions. She ran this shop for years. Although calling it a business might be a stretch, it was more like a non-profit because if you needed something and you didn't have money, my mom would happily give it to you for free and immediately write off the debt. Okay, that was what she operated. Eventually, we managed to convince her to retire. Seriously. Anyway, you see, it was a way of life where I come from, and I never imagined I would be anything other than a working mom. But life, as they say, had other plans because soon after we got married, my husband was recruited by a tech company in Seattle, and so we relocated to the US. At the time, I had a dependent visa, which meant that I could not legally work. And this is something that none of my family members could wrap their heads around. I arrived in the US about 3 months pregnant with our firstborn child. We now have 3 amazing kids, and the said firstborn has now graduated college. Our middle child is a senior up to college next year, and our baby is a junior in high school. I honestly don't know how or what time-lapse thingy made all of this possible because I'm still in awe of how quickly they grow. Back to my story. There was a lot happening at the time, and as you can imagine, it was a major adjustment. But looking back, the timing could not be more perfect. We were settling into a new marriage, preparing for the arrival of our first child, adjusting to life in a new country all at once. It was a challenging time, but it allowed me to lean fully into this new chapter of our lives. And honestly, these early years turned out to be the best business boot camp I could ever ask for. By the time my status changed and I was cleared to work, I knew that I did not want a typical 9 to 5 job. I was fully indoctrinated into motherhood and I could not let go. I'm sure that a lot of moms can relate to what I'm talking about. I wanted something flexible so I could still be available to my family. At the time, I was in my late 20s slash early 30s, and I was one of those women who had more in their closet than they had in their bank account or in investment. Shout out to all fashionistas. This is a no judgment zone. Anyway, so one day I woke up and decided that I was going to raise capital to start a new business. And so I started taking photos of my designer bags, luxury goods, and accessories, everything I could lay my hands on. I was amazed at how much people were willing and ready to pay for my used stuff on eBay. Some even generated more than the price I paid for them. I had arrived and you couldn't tell me nothing. Seriously. So I put all that money towards starting a new business. I opened an eBay storefront and immediately started having a steady stream of clients requesting specific brands, styles, models. So I had to learn how to source, identify, and locate authentic, rare, luxury women handbags and accessories that I then sold at a premium. It was all fun and exciting until I started paying attention to the numbers. I realized that eBay and PayPal, which is the same company, they were making more money from that business than I was. But nevertheless, I learned about financing, negotiation, logistics, and profit and loss. And all of these experiences paved the way for my career in real estate, where I found my true passion. I'm really not sure how or what it is with me and being pregnant. But when I decided to get my real estate license, guess what? I was pregnant with our youngest child. It was also the height of 2007, 2008 housing market crash. I must have a knack for doubling my risks and working on the wild side. Well, thankfully, my mom was here to help with the baby, and I did what any well meaning Nigerian mom will do. I went straight back to work. There were a lot of challenges along the way. I particularly recall walking into my first day of training at the real estate brokerage where I started out. And one of the trainers looked from my face to my growing belly and back and said to me, "Wow, you are an overachiever." It wasn't what he said. What I heard and internalized for a moment was, "You're not going to make it." I got a lot of well meaning, unsolicited advice, which included, why not wait till after the baby? But you see, I wanted what I wanted and I wanted it when I wanted it, and nothing was going to stop me. My family and friends back home were genuinely concerned. My childhood friend even told me she was disappointed that I had chosen the life of a housewife. The intervention mode was fully activated, y'all, because Nigerians were known for unsolicited advice and for making other people's business our business. Because this is how we do community. We're always looking out for one another. See, the term housewife is a negative thing in Nigerian culture, but things are changing in the evolution of family structure, at the advent of the media. There has been a cultural shift and the need for moms to be more involved in the shaping of their families and being present in the kids' formative years. The landscape just keeps changing and people are adapting with it. Okay, let's get into the meat and potatoes of this. Being a stay-at-home mom is like being the CEO of a very small, chaotic startup, except your clients and employees are unable to tie their own shoes, and you're managing multiple schedules for multiple people on a daily basis. I know that these clients of mine are not the only moms who have ever faced this challenge. So I want to offer you some encouragement that there is life after the kids no longer need us to keep their noses dry. Let's break down some critical skills every mom brings to the workplace and how they translate directly into entrepreneurship. I would even be bold as to put it on your resume like I did back then. I was looking and digging for the old resume to share, but I couldn't even find it. I must have overwritten over the years or whatever. But when I was still trying to figure out what I wanted to do, I didn't want a gap in my resume that I would then need to explain at every interview. So I added household manager to my resume, and it became the icebreaker at interviews because they wanted to know more like, okay, what does this mean? And at the time, I didn't even have the right words to describe and articulate exactly all the things I did. But talking to this client recently, I started to think about all those things that we do as moms, as women, that translates into the workplace or into business and entrepreneurship. So from year 2000 to 2007, I was proudly mom in charge for the Durojaiye family at 4410 227 Place Southeast. That was and is still the best privilege of my life. Okay, let's get into it. All the skills that make moms the perfect hire for any position or for entrepreneurship. Let's talk project management. Managing a household is project management 101. You're coordinating multiple schedules, school drop-offs, pickups, meal prep, nap time, soccer practice, carpool mom, play dates, school events. This is not much different than the skill set for managing a project in the workplace. Let me tell you something. If you can organize 3 kids under 7, keep them safe, well-fed, entertained, well-adjusted, not go out smelly, and become law-abiding citizens, you are more than capable of handling a team or a client roster. Budgeting. This is a mom's superpower. If you've ever figured out how to stretch a week's worth of grocery into meals everyone will eat and actually enjoy, or make them eat it anyway, you're already halfway to becoming a financial planner. Seriously, because running a household teaches you to allocate resources wisely and prioritize spending. And these are the exact budgeting skills you need in a business where financial management is crucial. Conflict resolution. I nailed it. My household was a crash course in conflict resolution and mediation. From breaking up siblings' fights to negotiating who gets the last piece of cookie, being a mom teaches you diplomacy, patience, and the ability to remain calm under pressure most of the time. Let's be real. These are all the skills you need for handling difficult clients, team disagreements, or any stressful situation in business. What about problem solving? Moms are some of the most resourceful people on the planet. At the drop of a hat, you can invent new games on a rainy day when kids can't get out to play. Problem solving is in our DNA. In business, this creativity will help you find unconventional solutions to big problems without breaking the budget. Next up, time management. This is an Olympic sports level, and moms have it on lockdown. You've mastered the art of squeezing 25 hours into a 24-hour day. From getting the kids to school to making sure dinner is on the table, you are a pro at time management. And this directly relates into business where deadlines are tight and time is money. You've got this, sis. Logistics and supply chain. Grocery shopping, meal planning are essentially supply chain management. You know where every item is, what's running low, how to restock them, where to find them at the cheapest price. Understanding logistics is critical in business, whether it's managing inventory, coordinating client deliveries. Moms handle logistics every day. So you've got this, sister. Human resources, negotiation, and team morale, because your kids, they're your team, they're your clients, they're everything rolled into one. And you have to keep everybody happy. So as the chief negotiator and peacekeeper for my family, I learned how to mediate, motivate, and maintain team morale. These skills are essential in business leadership when managing multiple personalities. Leadership. You have the essentials in business leadership. All 3 of my kids could not be any more different. It means that I have to manage different personalities, create a positive environment where everyone feels heard and are able to coexist with their differences and work as a team. You know, I read a book Leaders Eat Last by Simon Sinek. I'll leave a link in the show notes. The cover of this book should have the photo of a mom because moms eat last. And that is the epitome of leadership, ensuring everyone is taken care of before yourself. You have been auditioning for this role all of your life, and it's time that you make it a reality. Event planning. You are the chief memory maker, mastering all the details that result in epic and unforgettable birthday parties, family vacations, school events that are made for the memory books. You know what it takes to plan and execute events like a pro. This skill is invaluable for organizing business events, client meetings, or even team building. If you can organize a toddler's birthday party, you can certainly manage a corporate event. And forget boardroom presentations. The real challenge, try explaining to a 3-year-old why they can't wear their favorite winter jacket to bed. And this is a true story, my middle child. I want to encourage any woman, mom or not, who has worked within the confines of a home, embrace your story as part of the journey. So whatever dream you've been holding on to, lean into it. Let your past be the springboard that launches you into the next chapter. Whether that's starting a business, changing careers, or pursuing a passion, you're more than capable than you know. And you're already equipped with everything you need to succeed. Now it's time to put it to work in a new environment, one that's just as rewarding without the spilled milk and runny noses. As we wrap up this episode, I want to leave you with these final words that all of your experiences count. In fact, they are your superpower. Every meal you've ever prepared, every conflict you've ever resolved, every tough decision you've made for your family, those are the building blocks that have prepared you for your next adventure. Don't doubt the journey that's brought you here. It's exactly what will take you to where you're meant to go. Go for it unapologetically. You've got this, sister. You've been listening to the Creative Business Mindset podcast. Remember to share, like, and subscribe. Thank you for listening and keep doing all the things. Until next time.